Good evening, Rise Leaguesters. And Derek.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Sorry, a little different, but I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, this is going to be a much different version of the Rise League recap show, mostly because we are getting prepared and excited for the draft coming up, and our producer needs to put in some extra work, so we're taking the load off, and we're going to do something easy and simple here, and what my wife would know very familiar as a quickie.
Oh, what I suggest for the audience, seeing this is purely going to be some audio bliss that you're going to be treated to tonight. Put in those headphones, lay back in your bed and just enjoy the salty sounds. Colin and I breaking down this week 4 recap Rise League. Maybe even treat you to late night info about things to come.
Yeah, and listen to me munch on graham crackers.
Yeah, sure, because a little ASMR thrown in there. Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a big thing, but this is going to be a quick and efficient little breakdown here. We will not be doing some of the more familiar segments. This is just going to be a way to entertain you all for one more week until we can come back for the Season 2 recap, final recap for the Rise League. But before we get started, Derek, you drinking on anything tonight?
Not yet. I only drink after this show because it causes me to drink, like I'm sure so many of you in the audience.
I understand. Well, I just finished off a tall, cold glass of 2% milk.
Oh, I mean, I guess technically I am. Just some, a bottle of water with some blue raspberry Mio, just to keep the vocal cords, lubricated.
Wow. Nobody takes care of their vocal cords like you, Derek.
Yeah,
That's
how I
you
make my
sound.
money.
So, yeah. This is not a drop for Derek's OnlyFans account.
No, not at all. But you can find me on Feet Finder. Get out there.
Oh, gosh. I've seen your feet.
And it cost you.
You'd have to pay me to look at those things. Okay, well, let's get this train back on track here. What we are going to start with tonight is a quick run through of the team standings as of week 4, heading into the 5th and final week. Derek, do you have that with you, or would you like for me to go ahead and go through it?
Ooh, the standings, you may have to go through that real quick.
Yeah, it's okay. I got it pulled up here. So I'll let you chime in whenever you're ready. We have 2 teams that are currently tied for first with 3-1 records. Those 2 teams are Boise and Tucson. And then there are 2 teams tied for third place with a record of 2-2. Those are the Beavers and the Mighty Oaks. Anybody else surprised about that last one there?
I am a little bit surprised.
They have really shown this season. Let's come back to them. Let's talk about the 2 people fighting for not last place. 2 teams are tied with a 1-3 record. That is Thunder Bay Dragons and Fargo Freeze. Any surprises, Derek?
Honestly, yes. I'm going to be honest. Fargo. I know week 1, our first, or technically week 2 after week 1, our first recap show, we were both very high on Fargo. I mean, they stomped their week 1 opponent into the ground, putting up over 40 points and limiting to their opponent, who I am kind of missing on who they played, but left them, I think, in double digits, like in the teens, completely dominant. And since that win, was their only win. They've been on a slide here. I mean, they have the talent. It's just not materializing for them. I think a lot has to do with how the lack of run game and honestly how they're protecting the ball has not been good. Probably my biggest surprise.
Yeah, I totally agree with the surprise of Fargo being let's just say a letdown this season.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of high hopes for them, but a team that has really impressed me is Raleigh. All those players on that team deserve a lot of credit.
I expected them to be more in the boat of Fargo, with maybe lucky to win a game or 2, and I think they are on track to really surprise some people. They are doing better than I thought, especially the past couple of weeks. And honestly, their losses haven't been bad. Better than it. Like, there's no moral victories. Obviously, there's winners and losers. But maybe for them, like, I think they're surprising a lot of people, even with the L's.
Yeah.
And how they battle.
Yeah, they've done really well, and I think they should be proud of a 500 season right now. I would say that I was expecting Tucson to be at the top. I guess technically they are at the top, but, well, they're tied, but when it all comes down to it, Boise is still the number 1 team. Tucson's number 2. I expected a lot out of Tucson. They were my number 1 team going into this. But Boise, I mean, headed up, led by King Jackson, has really shown offensively, and if I'm not mistaken, has gotten a lot of picks this season on defense.
Yeah. Boise's defense led the way, and I'm not claiming responsibility for Boise's turnaround, but I'm just saying there was a certain someone on a certain weekly recap show that called out the quarterback of a certain team of not playing so well. They got real upset about it, and ever since has not lost. So I'm just saying.
You think you lit the fire?
I'm not. I'm not saying it. You're saying it, but I think that people out there believe it.
You're saying it, and I agree. Yeah, I mean, yeah. After you said that, they have been a different team.
Yeah,
so.
And I mean, but I agree with you wholeheartedly on what you said on Tucson, just based on how the captain of that team, which I believe that team is coached by Noah, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he put a squad together in that draft, and we kind of anticipated him putting together a really good team, and it was going to compete from day one, which it has. Because honestly, they lost due to a special teams screw up with.
Yep. Sounds like just dropped Derek here, possibly.
Oh,
there he is. He's back.
Am I back? I'm sorry.
Yep, you're good.
Out here, putting in work, checking all these teams. Sometimes the connection isn't always the best. But I don't know how much you caught. What I'm saying is, they're a special. Tucson is a special team snafu away from being 4-0. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't for the punt over the head through the back of the end zone for the safety, they could have been 4-0 very easily.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong. They are the closest team to 4-0 as anybody. Mm-hmm. Well, we got 1 week left, but let's talk about this past week, week 4. We've got some players, some team captains to discuss. We would, as our friend Ryan says, we would be remiss if we didn't go over studs versus duds this week. So let's take some time to start with the Boise team captain in week 4, outside linebacker Jack Gaines.
Correct.
Let's see.
Do you have
pulling up my stats?
So do you have
here.
a line on him?
I do. Jack Gaines, linebacker. Let me pull him up here. He was able to get double-digit tackles, 11 tackles. The most on the team this past week. Assists 2 and 3 tackles for loss, also the highest in that stat category.
I mean, for me, despite not, I like big splash plays, sacks and interceptions, pass deflections. But there's something to be said about someone who's just consistent. So I'm going to go stud for pure consistency. When you're putting up 11 tackles in the Rise League, as well as some tackles for loss, I'm calling stud. Tackling machine, if you will.
I didn't give you this stat. So I told you he was number 1 on the tackle list, followed by, in second place, a person with 5 tackles.
I mean, yeah, so he was all over the field, sideline to sideline.
He's more than doubled. He's more than doubled everybody's tackles.
Yeah, that's stud
material.
That's stud material.
Great week, Mr. Gaines.
Mr. Gaines.
Let's head over to Fargo and talk about the leader of that offense, Admiral Cash. Admiral Cash had a disappointing QBR of 40. No, that's for the season. That's really bad. Okay, QBR this week, 48.8. He was 23 for 40 at 57%, had 288 yards, 1 touchdown, and 6 interceptions.
Can't do it. That's dud. Like, again, we talked about it when we were talking about the team standings. Admiral Cash came out of the gate being.
I lost Derek again there. I'm going to guess that Derek said Admiral Cash came out being cash money in week 1 and has slowly started losing some pocket change along the way. But yeah, in my book, there's no way we can put Mr. Cash up as a stud here. He's got to be a dud.
Hello?
Yep, you're back.
Perfect. You actually nailed You nailed it on the head. He came out the gate being cash money. But
I know I know you. That's funny. So yeah, also for the season, Admiral Cash has 5 touchdowns, 20 interceptions. That's a big number for 4 games. Oh my gosh. Derek, are you still here? Okay. We're going to keep rolling with this until you hop back in. Let's go to Raleigh.
How about now?
Yes, sir.
It's being so weird because I still got connection, but it's just kicking me. But
yeah, it's kicking you. Okay. We'll give you one more try, and then we might have to stop the recording. Okay. We are looking at Ronaldo Segu, wide receiver for the Mighty Oaks. Segu this past week was able to get 7 receptions for 51 yards, 1 touchdown. That's pretty much it on the stat sheet. He was 3rd on the receiving list in total yards, but was able to get 1 of 2 touchdowns from the wide receiver core.
And this is Segu, correct?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to pull a page out of the Colin Pierce book, and I'm going to say borderline because it's comparative to the team, maybe stud for the wide receiver core, but in comparative to other players in the rest of the league, it's kind of dud material for me, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel very similar.
Like, in the realm of the team and how they performed and getting the win, and him being half the wide receiver core to contribute something, that's good. But compared to some of the other players at wide receiver across the Rise League, dud.
Yeah, he could have performed better. You can't be last on any team for the week and be considered a stud, in my opinion. So, sorry, Segu. You're a dud.
Dud.
Tucson's kicker. We are looking at the name Sebastian.
I know this for a fact, that this is going to be a good stat line. You know how I know?
How do you know?
Because I saw his overall, and the man's perfect on the season. He hasn't missed. I think he's 12 for 12 on the season, which means he's perfect in the game as well.
Sebastian Cavalu.
Mm-hmm.
Cavalu, 9 for 9 in the field goals. Longest is a 54-yarder.
That guy's a weapon. That's a stud. If you're looking to draft someone, if you're looking for a guy guaranteed extra points, this man shows up every time.
Yeah, you can't complain with that stat line.
54 yards? There's some kickers in the WFA Pro League that can't make 54 yards.
Yeah, that's a stud.
That's a stud.
Let's see if Phil Von Pop from Long Island is going to be a stud. Let's see.
With a name like that, you better hope he does.
Phil Von Pop. He is from Long Island. Strong safety. Phil was able to get 8 tackles, 2 assists, 1 pass deflection, and 1 tackle for loss. an underwhelming but average stat sheet.
Again, borderline. I'm sure he went a long way in, playing up in that game. Beavers ended up losing, so maybe a better play would have maybe turned the tide, but not putting it all on Mr. Von Pop. Average, solid play, but not enough for me to give him stud. Sorry, can't do it. I need to at least see one interception. People get mad at me for not crediting two, but I have to at least see one.
Yep, I'm right there with you. I agree. In parallel, that's a dud. And the last team captain for week 4 comes from Thunder Bay. This is also a safety, and his name is Josh Clayton.
Yeah.
Let's see what Josh was able to pull off.
I'm being psyched for. Give it to me, and I'm going to tell you dud right now.
You don't even want to hear it? You don't want to hear about his 5 tackles and 1 assist, and that's it?
Sometimes you just know. But also, I don't think it is... again, Thunder Bay as a whole is not playing very well. Mm-hmm. I also know that secondary, he's playing against some people who tend to shine, and I think he's fighting for big moments. He's fighting for the ball, not only as a safety but on his own secondary. But he's got some other studs on that secondary that he's trying to outshine. So,
yeah, he is the only player in the secondary who does not have an interception this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Josh. Looks like you're a dud.
Can't do it.
At least in week 4, right? We won't.
At least in week 4, you got time. You still got a game to turn it around and shine. Get your name out there.
Yep, you got one more week. Now, Derek, why don't you please share with the good fine folks listening here about our pick'em record?
Yeah, one of us is a dud, and let's just say it's not you. It's me currently. It's a lot closer than I thought it was going to be initially watching a game from the weekend. As we sit through 4 weeks, mind everyone, we don't have a full week of pick'ems, so it's not exactly correct. But
which week are we missing?
We would have not. No, remember we didn't do it in week 1, did we?
I think we did.
No, because 3 games a week, we would have 12 games. I only have 9.
Well, you were the one in charge of keeping record.
I just never went back. So based on the 3 weeks, I can go back to week 1. I will add it in before next week. Don't worry, because that could put me ahead. But no, I don't think we made picks.
Did we make strategy?
No, we didn't make picks. We didn't make picks for week 1. It's impossible.
Yes, we did. Because
no, we did not.
Oh, after week 1 was already played. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I'm not wrong.
No.
So
I'm wrong. I'm
the idiot. Dud now?
But
as it sits, you are 5-4, and I'm 4-5 for the weeks that we have had pick'ems.
Well,
because we didn't have a preseason show. We did it after week 1, so we couldn't have picked it prior to.
I would say that means you get first dibs on the lineup
versus Fargo.
Yeah, we are. Let's go ahead and start there.
We'll start there. I would love to say I'm all about I'm back and maybe try to wall off another Boise turnaround by telling Admiral Cash he needs to step it up and do that, but I don't have faith. Those turnover numbers are crazy, so I'm going Beavers. Beavers don't mind the freeze here, and they go on to take the victory.
I love the Beavers. I've picked them several times before this season. I'm a big fan of Guy Clausen and Aaron Statler. But I do feel like Fargo is finally going to get it together with their last home game of the season. I think when I'm looking at the stats here, they are very similar in their points scored per game. I think Fargo might have the edge here. I think Admiral Cash is going to get it together. And is going to start throwing some more touchdowns, going to limit those interceptions, and Fargo's going to get that dub. So
okay, you might maybe you caused that Boise moment right here by putting your ring behind it, but I can't do it.
The Boise
but
effect.
I respect it. The Boise effect.
Yeah, so I'll take Fargo there. How about Tucson playing against the Mighty Oaks? This could be a good game.
Again, it is probably going to be the best game of the weekend. And I'm riding with Tucson, the Vaqueros, Mexican Cowboys. Again, just spoke about it earlier, and maybe it's low-hanging fruit, but these guys are one mess up from being undefeated. And not even a main person mess up, a special teams mess up from being undefeated. So I'm going Tucson.
This could be a good opportunity for the Oaks to put a statement at the end of their season. But I can't pick them.
Going Tucson?
I can't pick them. I have to go Tucson. Tucson has played too well this season. They're going to get that fourth win. They're going to solidify their spot in the championship. Yeah.
I think so.
I'm taking Tucson.
Welcome.
And the last matchup is Thunder
Something
Bay
tells
and
me
Boise.
We're probably going to pick the same because I don't see it. I don't see a way. And now we've said this before, and I've been quoted picking wrong and making guaranteed picks, but I don't see a way Thunder Bay comes away with this. I am picking the other team I expect to be in the championship game. Boise wins this one. The Kings call checkmate, and Boise takes this one.
Man, Boise's scoring so many points. They're really putting up good numbers on the offense. It's hard to pick Thunder Bay, but I also don't want to snub you out with picking only one different than you.
Yeah, but then we tie going into the last week.
Tie. Yeah. I mean, I really want to pick Boise.
Do it. Do it. I'm fine to go in with a tie.
I'm a Grizzlies fan.
Does that mean it's a championship matchup for Pick'ems for us as well?
Could be.
Is that what we're looking at? Oh, okay. I'm putting you for Boise. I know you want it. You know it as well as I do that it's an uphill battle for Thunder Bay.
Boise's going to have everything. Boise has the stats. They have the home field advantage. They've got everything heading into
they've got players on their roster right now who are looking to show out for owners, get ahead of this draft.
I think we got a lot of first round picks in Boise.
Yeah, both the championship teams that we are anticipating championship prediction teams, which we're going to get to in a minute. Tucson and Boise. There's one or two stars on all of these teams. The two that we've kind of mentioned as our early predictions, I think are star-studded. They have a lot to pick from.
Yeah. I think we are in agreement that we are both expecting Tucson and Boise in the championship. That would make the most sense. I mean, obviously they are the only teams that are 3-1 right now, so it looks like a cop-out, but when you watch these teams play, they are playing so much better than the other teams.
Oh yeah, they're a step above the rest. These two are championship caliber. And honestly, not saying I wouldn't love a upset underdog story of the Beavers or Raleigh getting into the championship match, because in theory, through some math and miracles, I guess it could happen technically, because they could be tied in as far as record after this week with Tucson or Boise if either were to lose. But it's just this is what I expect, and I think we'd be missing something if it wasn't these two teams in the championship.
Yeah, and let's just kind of walk through some situational things here. I've got the tiebreakers. I don't know what you call it, flow sheet. To walk us through how things would play out. Here's something interesting. If Tucson loses to Raleigh, then that automatically puts Raleigh on top of Tucson because they have the head-to-head.
Oh,
They have the head-to-head. So Tucson would be out. The Oaks would be in, which is crazy. Now,
that is crazy.
if Long Island beats Fargo, Long Island would also be on top of Tucson because if Tucson loses, because Long Island beat Tucson this season. The only loss Tucson has been to Long Island.
So essentially it's a win and they're in. But if they lose, they're out.
Yep.
There is no tomorrow if they lose.
Right.
For Tucson.
They do not have a chance if they lose.
Now, question. Okay, I guess you're about to get to it because I was about to jump to our other
about
championship
Boise
prediction team. Yeah, could they take a loss to Thunder Bay?
Let's take a look here. The one team that Boise lost to was Tucson. They have beaten everyone else. So even if Boise loses, they're in because they have the head-to-head against everyone else. Yeah. So Boise is in the championship no matter what.
So we're guaranteed that prediction. Tucson, that's good. So that makes this Tucson game even more interesting. This Tucson Raleigh, which we're predicting to be the best game of the weekend anyway. Now there's real things on the line for this. Like this is your championship berth. This is playing in the big game. This is everything now. For both teams. You win and you're in for Tucson Raleigh.
Did it just get hot in here? I'm sweating, man. I'm nervous for Tucson.
Oh my.
They looked so good, and then you start seeing, oh man, the teams that they lost to could really come back to bite them. It's just weird to me looking at it on paper here. Tucson's 3-1, Raleigh's 2-2. But if Raleigh beats Tucson, they're automatically better than them. They already have the upper hand. So
I am
okay.
What a time. And that's what makes the Rise League so great.
Man, I should go back and put my money on the Oaks.
No, we don't go
back.
But I'm not.
We're not changing our mind. Picks locked. Locked in. So yeah, this should be a great week, an exciting week. I did catch news today that for the championship weekend, there will also be 2 other games to kind of solidify final placement for the season. So
some like I got what you're saying. Just kind of like
placement games, I guess.
Consolation
games. Yeah, that's a good one. Bowl games, I reckon.
Yeah,
we could call it
this isn't. We're not talking the Rose Bowl here. We're talking like Bad Boy Mower Bowl.
Thinking like the Advanced Auto Parts Bowl.
I got it. Like good for you guys, but that's not what we're here to watch. No. I got it. These are the bowl games being played at 1:00 on TNT that no one actually watches on like a Tuesday. I get you.
Well, Derek, I don't know about you, but I'm getting excited.
What we just uncovered here has me real pumped for this weekend. And as you all listen to this, I hope it gets you excited too, because this could be a wild weekend.
Yep. Well, this has been our not so quickie audio version of our show. If you liked it, let us know. Make sure you hit that like button on the YouTube channel. Thank you everybody for supporting us. We look forward to a final week of Rise, and we will be back with a live show like we usually do next week.
Heck yeah. I'll see everyone. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in. Stay beautiful, San Diego.